Italy is a very beautiful place, but it's also very broken. It's known for its beautiful scenery, amazing food, wine, and fashion. However, there's a side of Italy that you won't pick up on when you're there on vacation and touring the cathedrals. When I first started contemplating being a cross-cultural worker when I was in seminary, I thought being a missionary would mean going to a place in the jungle, going to a place where there was a lot of disconnection. So the idea of coming to a place in Europe, like Italy, was just like off the map. So how did we get to Italy? Italians are culturally Catholic, but it has little to do with Jesus or following him. That's why we found ourselves in Sesto Calende. Our story with church planting definitely began with Italians. The story of our church is really the story of one Italian couple. They were invited by a co-worker to consider Jesus. They were skeptical, but they began driving an hour every week to hear the good news. And one day, they made it clear, look, this is what we believe to be true. And they said yes to Jesus. And soon after that, as they began to grow in their understanding of Scripture and their understanding of their faith, they started asking, what would it look like to have a church in Sesto Calende like this one in Milan? Because as they were looking around their town and realizing that this is the place where we're going to raise our kids, and we want them to be raised in a place where Scripture is taught and where Jesus is followed. So they invited us to move to Sesto Calende to live out our faith and invite others to join. That's how our church began. And fast forward a few years, and we had other colleagues join us that have been instrumental part in the community growing and the community flourishing. Now we are a group of about 50 or 60 or so in the town of Sesto Calende who are Italian speaking, who are following Jesus.
The goal of our hearts is to see Jesus exalted in Sesto Calende. In whatever way we can do that. As the Lord opens doors, we try to step through those. The believers are amazing. They're wonderful people. And all of the Italians, we've fallen in love with the people in the place. And that's our heart is here.
But the reality is we are surrounded by towns and cities in northern Italy that have no evangelical influence whatsoever. They are searching for answers. They are searching for community with none nearby. There are middle schools and high schools throughout the north that have no access to a Christ follower.
Think back to pagan Roman times. The gospel has really never taken deep root here, ever.
The door is really wide open on where we could go in the future of sending new teams to start new bodies. Italy may not be the first place you think of when you think of missions, but the spiritual needs here are great. So if you feel like God is asking you to go, consider Europe, consider Italy.